Well, good morning and welcome to the Saturday morning power breakfast. I can see I'm a little washed out here. Let me see if I can fix that. Yeah, it's a little better. But hope you had a great week. The purpose of the Saturday morning power breakfast, as you may already know, and if you don't, I encourage you to go back and watch some of the other episodes, is to really get you into the 5% club. 95% of all Americans by the time you reach age 65 are dead, broke, or still working. We want you in the other 5%. So that's the whole goal of these Saturday morning power breakfasts is a chance to get up early, break bread, and share some things that I think that are going to be a benefit to you. So all that being said, I want to take your attention. I've been going through the 10X Bootcamp by Grant Cardone. He put this together, and it was basically 3 days of wall-to-wall content. And I took great notes, and I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, there are guys out there who what they'll do is they'll take these kind of notes, and they'll go to a seminar like this, they'll take all the information in, and they'll turn around and they'll sell it to people on the internet. And what I've chosen to do, we believe that we are blessed to be a blessing. So we take this information, we give it back to you in bite-sized chunks, so that not only can you hear the information, but you can ponder it, and then if it makes sense to you, apply it. So that's the real goal here. And this, I believe, is number 4 in the series. And we're just going to kind of keep going as we walk through this information. I believe it's helping you. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, I encourage you to go back there and watch them. They all build upon each other because I'm trying not to repeat anything because there's so much content here. So I encourage you to go back, watch the replays. Understand, these replays are not meant to be like Mission Impossible. When you watch them, they won't self-destruct. You can go back to them and watch them again and again as you need to get the information. That is the reason why I kind of go at a faster pace as I'm going through the information, because you can replay it as you need to, and you go through it. So one of the things that we talked last week about the 40% rule. I call it the 50% rule. You can go back and listen to that. And we really talked about the financial principles that you need to have in mind as you move forward. Well, according to Grant, there's a 4-letter word. I'm known as Blessed Brother, and our content is clean, but there's a 4-letter word that we have to talk about. And that 4-letter word is debt. D-E-B-T, debt. Some people have villainized this. Some people think it's great. Where does Grant Cardone stand on that in terms of what he teaches at the 10X Bootcamp? Well, you may not be shocked to learn that Grant considers debt a good thing. In fact, there's 7 points he makes about debt that you might want to write these down. Number 1, it's a myth that all debt is bad debt. And of course, that flies in the face of people like Dave Ramsey or maybe Susan Orman, who will tell you that, you need to be totally out of debt. All debt is bad. And what I heard Robert Kiyosaki say once was that there's a difference. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And if you're using debt to fund assets, that's a good debt. If you're using assets of debt to buy doodads, is what he calls them, then that's obviously bad debt. And the way he made the distinction is that debt that's literally being paid by others is good debt, meaning that if you had an apartment and you had an apartment complex and you had people in there who are renting from you, and that was what you used to pay down the mortgage debt, that would be a good thing, obviously. So, number 1, myth. All debt is bad debt. That's not true, according to Grant Cardone. Number 2, debt is your distribution channel, meaning that debt is a thing that opens up the ability for you to get further assets. Number 3, debt is your ability to go into the market and produce more income, meaning that if you're able to secure funds from a debt standpoint, you're able then to leverage that in order to go into a marketplace and create more income. Now, let me pause there for a second. This does not mean, in the old days, I remember there used to be this real estate investor called He used to have late night infomercials. This is probably way before your time, but there was this guy called Carlton Sheets. And what he did was he talked about no down payment was the name of his course. And he had these people get on there and they would talk about, how they got real estate for no money down and it was a wonderful thing and so forth and so on. Well, that is not what Grant's talking about, because I wish sometimes with some of these stories, they came back to these people 5 years later after an economic downturn, because what people did was they went out and they got single family homes with no money down. And then what happened was that person moved out, or they were having to cover that mortgage. So they got the first person they could in the door, hey Lee, and that person then, tore up the place because they didn't have the financial wherewithal to kind of wait and find the right tenant for their place. So I say all to say, when you go and you start leveraging debt, don't do it from a standpoint of brokenness. Do it from the standpoint of having done that 40% rule that we talked about last time, having some cash reserves. So yes, you may leverage banks or other investors to come in for the things that you do when you start moving into that third piece. Remember that, get money, save money, and then the third thing is you want to multiply that money. Well, as you move into that third step of multiplying that money, you may leverage other folks who come in and create debt for you. But make sure you have your own cash reserves so you're able to deal with the any kind of economic issues. Now, again, like I said before, if you're saying, well, how can I even put aside 40% to do these kinds of things? Well, the bottom line is you need to increase your income probably. That's why if you go to the octagonmethod.com, if you go to octagonmethod.com, you will find information on how to create additional income in cracks of time. That's what we specialize in, helping busy people, create additional income in cracks of time. So go to the octagonmethod.com, check out those free resources there. They're there to help you. Now, let's go on. Never use debt for consumption. This is getting back to what I said before. Instead of using debt to just, buy, the newest VCR, the newest TV, you're using debt to help you go to the next level. That's number 4. Number 5, use debt to build income, all right? Number 6, you use debt when it gets you more money, when you get a write-off of the interest that they are paying. So what Grant's saying is that the only time you ever want to use debt is when you're putting into something that's going to, number 1, create income, create a cash flow, right? And it's going to give you some type of write-off. Now, as you start learning more and more about this, and, one of the things that Grant talks about that you should invest in is knowledge, education. And as you start learning, I'm not saying you have to become a tax accountant, but if you get a cursory understanding of the tax benefits that come with having things like your own home-based business or having real estate or having these different assets, as you come to understand that, you will get to the point where you realize the game is kind of rigged. There are people who are ignorant and therefore they don't take advantage of those things. And they're paying the highest tax rates out there when you'll find someone who's wealthy, who's paying less in percentage tax than you do because they understand these things. It is worth it, my friend, to get financially literate so that you have this information and you can go forward with it. All right, so that was number 6. You use debt when it gives you more money, when you get a write-off of the interest that they are paying. And lastly, number 7, you use it when it allows you to expand your empire. So the key there is, because you stored up this cash and you have this money that you've done through the 40% club, what you've done is 40% club, 40% rule. So here's a scenario. Here you are. 67% of all people are living paycheck to paycheck. We know that. We've talked about that in the previous ones. All right. So you're living paycheck to paycheck, and now you get this knowledge, understanding that, hey, I'm supposed to be putting away 40% of my gross income for later investments. And according to Tony, I should also be giving away 10% of my gross receipts to charity and so forth. So you got that in your head and you're saying, how can I do that? Well, you go to places like the Octagon Method, you get some free information on how to do that. Now you're implementing that information, and now your income is growing. You get it to a point where you're able to do those things, and now you have the cash that you've stored up over a period of time of putting that 40% away, and you come to the marketplace and you start learning where to put your money. Well, like it says in number 7, the reason you use debt is because you come into the marketplace with strength. You come into the marketplace with strength, and it allows you to expand your empire. Banks love putting money to work with people who know what they're doing. And as you go through the process that I just laid out there a minute ago, you will grow in your financial literacy, and you'll be someone that banks and other investors want to partner with because it's helping them get a higher return on their money. So that's a beautiful thing. The next thing, and I'll stop there in terms of personal finances. Now, Grant starts thinking in terms of, or starts talking about what's going on in terms of your business cycle. And I'm just going to do a quick introduction to that piece of it, because he's now moved from personal finances, but now he's going into your business cycle. As I was, it's a little bit of chicken scratch that I wrote down, so I need to be able to read it. All right. I want you to write down 7 things, and we'll talk more about these in later episodes. Number 1, speed to market. That's one of the things you want to focus on being able to do. When you start putting business out there in the marketplace, you want to learn ways to get speed to market. How soon? All right, we had a little glitch there. All right, so looks like we're back. All right, so anyway, as I was saying, speed to market's number 1. Number 2, turn the ideas into multiple offers. Meaning that when you have an idea of what's something you can bring to the marketplace, look for ways that you can turn that thing into multiple offers. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward. Be omnipresent. And what that basically means is learn how to use social media to get yourself everywhere. And we'll talk about concepts about that as well. Double down, meaning that when something's working, find ways to just, you're going to try a bunch of different things. One of my mentors talks about a concept called plan, do, check, and adjust. If you've been watching previous episodes, you heard me talk about that. But when you plan, do, and you check it, and you find out that something's working, put momentum into that. Put the pedal down on that. And that's what that concept is. So that's number 4, double down. Number 5, promotion, not perfection. And this is one that you got, if you're a perfectionist, before you put something out, you're all about making things perfect before you put it out. Well, what Grant will challenge you to say or do is to put it out there and look for promotion, look for getting it out there, even if it's not perfect. Be willing to be ugly before you do it pretty. That's a success concept. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing ugly before you can do it pretty. I'll give you 2 more. Look for ways to automate and scale. And that's one of the great things I love about the Octagon Method. You learn how to not only do things, but I also teach my team how to automate those things, and then how to scale, how to get multiples. And that's why we can get so much done in so little time. You need to check out the octagonmethod.com. And lastly, always be acquiring customers. Always be in the process of expanding your business. So those are the 7 things. Again, we will go into more detail about some of those as we progress on, but you got to look at that as being your business cycle, as what you do to bring any idea to the marketplace. Listen, I believe that you have within you ideas. You just need resources, you need partnerships, you need things in place to make those things happen. And I'm here to tell you that Tony Stewart, aka Blessed Brother, aka Big T, I'm here to help you. So anyway, I'm going to end right there. Again, go to the octagonmethod.com. Check out that information there. I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope it starts you thinking That's the whole purpose of these Saturday morning power breakfasts, is to start you thinking so that your mind can fill your pockets and you can get into the 5% club. Angie and I are here for you. We are excited about helping you succeed. Plug in with us. Go to our resources, get those free resources, and we will see you on the beaches of the world, my friend. Talk to you soon. Have a blessed week. Make this week a masterpiece, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.